I'm here live right now with John Ortiz, owner of the Bootleg Crab Leg, and it seems like he's making a run for it. John, where are you reporting live from right now?
I am reporting live from North Carolina right now. I am on my way down to Florida right now. My team will be relocating down to Florida with my boy Winston.
Breaking news! Breaking news! The Bootleg Crab Leg is relocating from New Jersey down to Florida with his boy, Jameis Winston. They're going to go try to steal crab legs from the local supermarkets down there together. Are you excited about the big move?
I'm excited about the big move. I won't be a Miami Dolphin or a Buccaneers fan. You don't have to worry about that. But I am having a relocation. And it's been real in Jersey, but it's time to move on.
What's the worst thing about New Jersey?
The worst thing about New Jersey, it's really expensive.
Okay, that's a better answer. That's a much better answer.
But it does stink up in Newark.
You are being ultra safe right now because you are not driving and you are seatbelt fastened, bro. I like it.
Oh yeah,
Safety first.
yeah. I make sure no tickets this time. No tickets
no
this
cops,
time.
no nothing.
All right, well, thank you very much for taking a few minutes, John. I really appreciate it. Get back on the road, get there safe and sound, and keep in touch with us. All right.
All right, thank you.
All right, have a good trip, Johnny.
All right, take care.
Week 1 in the Always Sunny in Sayreville League was, for the most part, a high-scoring week. We had a lot of teams that put up a really impressive first performance. There were a couple of teams that put up not so impressive performances. We're going to try not to focus on that. We're going to look at the positive stuff. But before we get to that, just a couple of housekeeping notes, things that I noticed during Week 1 that needed my immediate attention. And it's important for me to let you guys know what's going on. Okay, 2 things. Number 1, I noticed during Drew Brees' game, in the old days with the passing bonuses the way they were, when he got 400 yards, he would get 5-point bonus. And that was it. I didn't have a 300-yard bonus previous to this year. Now that there's a 300-yard bonus, he should have gotten 2 points at 300 yards and 3 more points at 400 yards, or at least that's what I thought when I set it up, so that you could get part of the bonus and then the rest of the bonus. Instead, it just gave the 3 points. It gave the 400-yard bonus and not the 300-yard bonus. It gave either or. So what I did was I went in there and changed it so that you get 2 points at 300 and then 5 points at 400, so you get the full 5 points at 400. It didn't have any effect on the game, but it might have some effect on games going forward in the league. So I wanted to make sure that was corrected. And I did the same thing, by the way, for running backs, because it's the same thing. You're supposed to get part of the bonus and then the rest of the bonus. But we haven't had a 200-yard rusher yet. But when we do, you want that 5-point bonus. So there it is. That's point of note number 1. Point of note number 2 is the trade window. The default trade window for trade review, for voting and all that stuff, it was 2 days. I didn't really think about it until I started negotiating a trade in the middle of the week, realizing that there was a Thursday game coming right up, and there were Thursday game players involved in the trade, and I started to realize that the 2-day standard trade review window was instituted before cell phones, and it was instituted before Thursday night games. So what I did was I shrunk the 2-day window down to a 1-day window. 1 day is more than enough time to see that there's a trade going on, see how you feel about it. And that way the trade can get done and the people can swap the players out and set their lineups for the Thursday night game. So those are the 2 things that came up in Week 1 that I quickly corrected. They didn't affect anything, and they're now going forward going to work properly when need be. All right, so without further ado, let's get on to the games. The first game that we're going to take a look at is the one between the Rusty Strombone and She Gave Me the Crabtrees. This was one of the best games of the week. This is one of the games that I certainly had my eye on as it progressed throughout the weekend. It was a key divisional contest, between two teams that were pretty strong last year, both playoff teams from last season, and it ended up being the closest game of the week, just a 9-point difference between these two teams when the dust settled. Now, going into Monday Night Football, the Crabtrees had a 128.1 to 115.6 lead. So you're looking at like 12 point something. But the problem was, She Gave Me the Crabtrees had their flex position left to go, choosing between Pierre Garçon and I can't even remember who the other guy was. Bobby texted me, "Who do you like? Who do you like in this spot?" And I told him it doesn't matter who I like in this spot because Anthony's still got Antonio Brown left to play. And exactly what everybody expected to happen is what happened on Monday night. Antonio Brown blew up and carried Anthony from behind to a 9-point victory on opening weekend. On the other side, the Crabtrees were led by 24.4 points out of David Carr and 21.1 points out of Kelvin Benjamin in his return from ACL surgery. So he's got something, positive to look at there, but in totality, he came up just a little bit short in week one. Now, there was definitely a lot of action in that last game, but this next game was even more explosive, with the two teams combining for over 300 points. Team Blumpkin beat Toddler Fight Club this week, 155.3 to 144.8. This was a 12.5-point victory, the second closest game of the week in a key divisional matchup between these two explosive offenses. Team Blumpkin set the pace early in this one, with 4 players scoring over 20 points, led by AJ Green's phenomenal 38 points against the Jets, thank you very much, and Larry Fitzgerald's 28.1 points. Now, Gary Barnage scored a 0 in this game, which, Blumpkin scored 155 points with a 0 in his lineup. Now, that probably cost him the hero this week, but still, 155 points, he's going to be happy with that. Going into Monday Night Football, Toddler Fight Club was down 47.6 points. It looked pretty bleak. He only had D'Angelo Williams left to go. Now, D'Angelo Williams, if anybody remembers from last year, in Le'Veon Bell's absence, has been a beast. And he was a beast again on Monday night, putting up 37.1 points. Obviously, Toddler Fight Club fell short, but 37.1 out of D-Will is nothing to sneeze at. He also got 21.2 points out of Cam Newton in a losing effort, but 144 points on opening weekend. Toddler Fight Club can hold their head up high going into their week 2 matchup. So now we go from the 2 closest final scores of the week to the game that was the closest going into Monday night. The Bootleg Crab Leg trailed the Moth 114.1 to 112.2 going into Monday night's game. The Moth had the Rams defense left to play. The Rams defense, who everybody thought was, decent coming into the season, going against the Bootleg Crab Leg and Carlos Hyde, who was in the new Chip Kelly offense. Would he be good? Would he be bad? Would he get hurt? Would he play well? Nobody knew. So for anybody who watched this game or who didn't watch this game, the Rams are a dumpster fire. They're just terrible in all phases of the game. So the Rams defense kind of got beat up, scoring only 4 points for the Moth, while Carlos Hyde was able to do pretty much whatever he wanted on his way to 2 touchdowns, bringing the Bootleg Crab Leg from behind to win by a pretty comfortable margin. The final score did not really indicate how close this game was throughout the weekend. The Moth's quarterback, Matt Stafford, led all scores with a 28.1, but the rest of the team was kind of a letdown. 4 points from the Rams defense is not going to get it done. The Bootleg Crab Leg, however, had a much more balanced attack, led by fill-in Jameis Winston with 25.5 points, and the aforementioned Carlos Hyde pitching in 23.3. This game was a lot closer than the final score would indicate. The Bootleg Crab Leg just had an ace in the hole on Monday night. Alright, so now it's time for the hero and the GOAT, favorite part of the week. The hero was pretty tough to pick this week because of all the great performances. The GOAT was a little easier. But before we get to that, I have a new segment that I'm real excited to share with you guys. It's going to become a regular part of the weekly update. It's actually going to air every other week, starting now. I'm real excited to share it with you guys. I think you're really going to like it. It's called Odd Sundays, and it's a point of view that's just a tad askew.
Hello, always sunny in Sayreville. I am Colin McKinnon, owner and operator of Rutherford B. Hazy. And I'm here today to bring you Odd Sundays, where I shit on the NFL. To start with, the Thursday game was labeled The Sequel. And after watching it, I'm quite sure it was direct to DVD. Cam Newton got so concussed in that game. I got news for you, Cameron. Superman can remember what happened 5 minutes ago. Although it's not entirely his fault. It's the team's fault and the NFL's fault. The NFL treats concussed players like the Texas penitentiary system treats the mentally underdeveloped. Colin Kaepernick has also been in the news lately for not standing up during the national anthem. What's the big deal? It's not like it was a baseball game. Tony Romo broke his back. That sucks out loud. But as bad as I feel for him, I feel so much better for his wife. No, Tony, that's my asshole. I'm telling you for the last time. That's an interception joke. And finally, this hurts because I'm such a big Hawks fan. Pete Carroll is a 9/11 truther. Really, buddy? You believe that conspiracy? I thought you coached at USC, not Penn State. Ew! Good luck to everybody, but not really, unless you're playing me. I will talk to you soon.
All right, thanks, Colin. We'll see you in 2 weeks. So here we are, the first hero of the 2016 Always Sunny in Sayreville season. It was a tough one to pick this week. There was a lot of really good performances, a lot of big scores, come from behind wins. There was just a mess of great people and teams to choose from. So what I did was I copped out and gave it to the guy who scored the most points. The Golden Showers beat the Dennis system this week, 158.4 to 134. The Golden Showers were helped along the way to this major score by 4 players who scored 20 or more points, led by Brandon Cooks' 35.4, the Minnesota defense who scored 2 touchdowns on their way to 26 points, David Johnson who scored 23.2, and DeMarco Murray who put up 22.7 points. That's all it takes in week 1, guys. You're the hero if you score the most points. And the reason why it's even more important this year, I'm not sure if I made this, abundantly clear or not, but there is now a total points prize at the end of the regular season. If you lead the league in scoring, you win a prize at the end of the year. Same as third prize. You win that prize at the end of the year. So the Golden Showers got themselves off to a nice early lead in the regular season points championship chase. And for that, the Golden Showers are this week's hero. So now it's time for this week's GOAT. This was a runaway. The Gotham Rogues, last year's champion, Gotham Rogues, opened up the season with the juiciest turd ever in an opening game by a defending champion, scoring only 75 points. 75 points in his first game in title defense. Ridiculous. He lost the game 117.8 to 75. The only team in the league to score in double digits. The lowest, obviously, score in the league. He had 5 players score in single digits and 1 put up a 0. He got 5.5 points out of his quarterback, 11.4 points out of his running backs combined. And Des Bryant, who I admittedly thought was a draft steal, put up a 1.8. So the panic button is right here, and Narkowitz's finger is like right there. Like right there. As I mentioned, it was the worst performance to open a season by a defending champion ever. Okay? He scored 42 points lower than the lowest previous defending champion in their season opening game. That is what you call a disgrace to the cup. And for that, the Gotham Rogues are this week's GOAT. Alright guys, key matchups. This week we have 4 key games to take a look at. As usual, it's the teams that are 0-for and the teams that are undefeated. 0-1, the Moth takes on 0-1 Gotham Rogues in a battle of the last 2 champions of the Always Sunny in Sayreville League. Both of them starting the season 0-1. Neither of them wants to start the season 0-2 and try to dig out of that hole. And oh, by the way, division game. Rutherford B. Hazy started the season off 0-1, and they take on the Crabtrees, who are also sitting at 0-1, in a battle for the basement in the number 2's division. On the bright side, 1-0 Team Blumpkin takes on 1-0 Devante's Inferno in a battle between the second highest scoring team and the third lowest scoring team. And finally, 1-0 Shower Hug takes on 1-0 Golden Showers in another division battle between two teams that actually met last week in a different league, and so Shower Hug's looking for a little bit of revenge to go along with a perfect record. So that's it, guys. Week 1 update over. Remember to set your lineups. Remember to go back and watch the Coaches Challenge video. Find it on the YouTube channel and watch it and understand it so that you know all of the scoring options that are available to you that ESPN does not allow me to give you. So I give them to you anyway because I'm the commissioner and I love you. And I'll see you next week where it's always sunny.